Hello and welcome to the first video for the PowerPoint Chapter 1 simulation exam. Before I start any series of videos, I'd like to remind you that beneath the time and the date here, you have that small black box with two white arrows. If you click there, it'll expand your screen and you'll better be able to see what we're doing. Okay, so I've already logged straight into the simulation exam just to save us some time, and we are on step 1. And step 1 says to start a new presentation using the integral theme. So I am going to grab the scroll bar here and scroll over a little bit because I need to start PowerPoint. So I double click on PowerPoint 2013. The opening screen comes up and I see some preset themes in here. Well, we want to double click on integral. And it moves us to question 2. Question 2 says, on slide 1, enter the text the way we think in the title placeholder. You've got a couple of placeholders here. These placeholders are these little boxes. And the bigger one, or the one that usually says click to add title, is the title placeholder. Then over here you have a subtitle placeholder, a little smaller box. So I click in here, and I'm going to type the way we think. Now, I noticed that up here it's got... before I move on to the next step, you can still see it. It's got upper and lowercase letters here. Well, in the title placeholder, normally it will only type capital letters. So don't worry that it's not typing the upper and lowercase. Okay, so it says enter the text 2 approaches in the subtitle placeholder. So I click in the subtitle placeholder and I type 2 approaches. And you notice that in the subtitle placeholder, it does expect you to type upper and lowercase. It says create a new folder on the USB flash drive named lecture series. Let's go ahead and do that first, and then we'll go to the second part. So I want to go up here and I want to click in the save button right here, the little 3.5-inch diskette. I click there. I click browse. I want to make sure that it's in my USB disk, and it is. I see USB disk up there. So I'm going to click on new folder. And a new folder pops up, and it's got in blue the words new folder. Well, I can just start typing now. Lecture series. Okay. So then I want to click on open, and that it puts the lecture series up here. And then we want to create a copy of the presentation that we have as a file name 1A_creative thinking. It looks like it on your screen, but there actually is no space between the word creative and the word thinking. Okay, so let's type that in here. 1A_creative thinking. Notice I didn't put a space in there. Okay, and then I click save. And it moves us to step 3. Step 3 says apply the Ion boardroom theme to the presentation. So this is basically showing you that at any point in time you can change themes in a presentation, and as we'll learn later, you can actually have different themes for each slide. I don't recommend that. It starts to get kind of disorienting when you see different themes, but I have used a different theme for the first slide and then had the same theme for the rest of the slides in the presentation. I've done that before. Okay, so enough of that. Let's do what it wants us to do here. Apply the Ion boardroom theme to the presentation. So I click on Design tab right up here, and I see a whole bunch of themes. I click the More button to see a lot of them, and there's thousands of these themes if you go to Browse for Themes. Luckily, we don't need to. Let me just show you that there is. Let me get up to it again. There's Ion. That's not the one we want. We want to use this one right here, Ion Boardroom. So I click on it, and it changes the theme of the presentation. Allow me to take a moment to warn you that you really want to stay away from themes that have dark colors in a big space of each slide, especially if you're going to print these slides out, because just this one slide would eat up a whole bunch of ink on your printer. So if you're going to print these out, you really want to either avoid a theme that has a dark background, or later when we go to learn about printing our PowerPoints, you'll see how you can print it in black and white. Okay, so step 4 says insert a new slide after slide 1. So we see slide 1 over here. Okay, so let's insert a new slide. I want to click right here. Don't click up here. If I click up here, it's going to insert the same exact type of slide right here. Well, we want to insert a different type or a different layout slide. So I click on New Slide, and the one they want is To Content. So I go down here and I click on To Content. And see, it adds a different layout slide as a new slide. And it says enter the text Edward De Bono as the title placeholder. So I click up here and I type Edward De Bono. Okay. Then it says insert a new slide after slide 2. Okay. Now if I wanted to insert another slide after slide 1, I'd have to go back up here and click on slide 1. I'm not going to do that because it's going to say, wrong over here. But even if you had like 10 slides, you don't have to always insert a slide at the very end. You can go in and insert in the middle, and you would do that by clicking on the slide above where you want to insert a new slide. Well, they want us to insert a new slide after slide 2. So slide 2 is selected. We can see that orange border around it. And the type of slide they want is a title and content layout. So I go back up here, I click on New Slide. There's Title and Content. I click on it, and I now have a third slide. It says Enter Creative Thinking Theories in the title placeholder. Okay. Okay. It says on slide 3, enter the text vertical thinking in the content placeholder. Content placeholder is, remember, this is a title. That's the part up here. Content, that was the type of slide slide 3 was, title and content. So this is the content placeholder down here. I click there and I type vertical, well, I don't know why it's not keeping up with me, vertical thinking. And it moves us to slide 5. Slide 5 says below the first bullet point. Okay, so we've got our first bullet point is vertical thinking. I'm going to click after it, and then I'm going to hit enter. But before I start typing, it says it wants a second level bullet. All that means is it wants this next bullet to be indented a little bit. How do we do that? We go up in here into the paragraph group. We click on this button there that says increase list level. So I click there. See where it moved my bullet point in a little bit? And I type relies on logic. Then it says below the second bullet point, add the text lateral thinking as a first level. So I hit enter. Now if I start typing, it's going to be wrong because this is still a second level. How do I go back to a first level? Well, I go here and I click my decrease list level. And then I start typing. Lateral thinking. And it says below the bullet point, add the text connects previously unrelated pieces of information as a second level. So I hit enter. Remember, to make it a second level, I have to click here. All right. Connects previously unrelated pieces of information. And it moves us to step 6. Step 6 says on slide 3, so I see that we're on slide 3. You see this orange box around it. In the notes pane, enter the text as defined by Edward De Bono. Where's the notes pane? Well, right down here you've got this little button called notes. When I click there, this little pane opens up, window pane opens up down here, and I click there to add some notes. As defined by Edward De Bono, and it said include the period, and it moves me to step 7. Let's stop here after step 6 for our first video in the PowerPoint Chapter 1 simulation exam. We'll pick up with question 7 when we start video 2. I'm going to close out my screen capture software now, and I look forward to seeing you in video 2. Hello and welcome back. This is Mark Avery, and we are starting video 2 now of the PowerPoint Chapter 1 simulation exam. We pick up with question 7, and question 7 says display slide 2. So let's go ahead and do that. We click on slide 2 and enter the text defined the 2 approaches to creative thinking in the left content placeholder. So we have 2 content placeholders here. We want to click here in the left one, and we type defined the 2 approaches to creative thinking. We type that in the left content placeholder. Then it says display slide 3. Then insert a new slide using the 2 content layout. So we go up here to new slide. We click on 2 content. We now have slide 4. On slide 4, enter the text vertical thinking in the title placeholder. So we click up here in the title placeholder and we type vertical thinking. Oops. sure you check your spelling and your capitalization. Question 8. Display slide 3. So we click on slide 3. In the right content placeholder, insert the picture file from the USB drive, and it gives us the name of a picture file. Well, you see that you have 6 little pictures here, 6 little icons, okay? The one that we want to use is the bottom left one called Pictures. We click there. It goes to where we have pictures. We double click on the one that they tell us to use, 1A_creativity. So I double click on it, and it puts it into slide 3. Step 9 says, on slide 3, apply the compound frame black picture style to the inserted image. Well, the first thing you have to do is click on that image, and then we go up to Picture Tools Format, and we go to Picture Styles. And I click the More button, and the one they want is compound frame black. It's the fourth column, second row. I click there, and there it adds that frame to our picture. Step 10 says, on slide 3, and we're still on slide 3, apply the cement artistic effect to the picture. So again, I have to select the picture, go up here and click on Format, and then here is artistic effects over here in the Adjust group. So I click the More button, and the cement artistic effect is the first column, the fourth row. It says cement, so I click on it, and it changes the look of our picture. But we look at it and we say, nah, we really don't like it. How do I remove that artistic effect? I go right back up here to Artistic Effects, and the first one always is None. So I click on None, and it takes away that last artistic effect that we applied to the picture. Step 11. View the entire presentation in slideshow view from the beginning and then return to normal view. Okay, so I go up to slideshow, and then I click on from beginning. And there's my first slide. Now I just have to click my left mouse button to go to the next slide. And then go to the next slide. Then go to the next slide. Then go to the next slide, which there is none. Once you see this blank screen, just click one more time and you return to normal view. Step 12. Display the presentation in presenter view. So I click on slideshow again, but there's this little button right here, little box. If I click in there, it says use presenter view. Then you need to hold down the Alt key on your keyboard and press F5 on your keyboard. That takes us into presenter view. Display slide 3, so I click on my next slide button. There's slide 2, there's slide 3, and make the notes larger. Here's the notes. Remember, we typed that as defined by Edward de Bono. We typed that earlier. So if I want that text to be bigger, right down here there's a little button, little icon with an A. It says make text larger. I click there, and it makes the text a little larger. It says in presenter view, display all the slides on the screen at once. See all slides right here. And then display slide 1. There's slide 1. We're back in presenter view with slide 1. To exit presenter view, you just go up here to where it says in slideshow, and I click there. And it takes us to step 13. Step 13 wants us to add notes, notes and handouts pages. So I'm going to click on Insert, Header, Footer, and make sure you click on these notes. These notes can either show up on the slide itself or on any notes and handouts that we print out. So I click on Notes and Handouts. It says insert the current date and time that will automatically update. Okay, so I click on date and time. It'll update automatically. And the footer text, 1A creative thinking. So I click on footer. I click in that little box underneath it, and I type 1 capital A underscore. And remember, there's no space between creative and thinking. And I click on apply to all. Let's stop there and pick up with step 14 when we do video 3. Thank you for your time. I'll see you in video 3 when we start with step 14.